yeah, I think it was a very successful project, and more importantly, it was a lot of fun experience and pleasure working with the team at Everything.Design. One of the tasks that we gave the team at Everything.Design is to come up with a tagline for us, and they studied all the competitors, and of course all the competitors, just like us, had also focused on automation as the centerpiece of messaging. But during our discussions we realized is that simplifying the work for people is actually as important or slightly more important than automating the work itself. When we started the branding exercise, we wanted to bring automation to the center of the messaging. So we are pretty happy that it gets simpler is a tagline which resonates not only with us at i3, but it resonates well with all our customers, and I think it's a tagline which will stay with us for a significant amount of time. When we started i3 back in 2016, and obviously being a small company, you're trying to cut cost and you don't have much money to spend. And for a tech company, for a B2B company, spending money on branding and design and all feels a little bit unnecessary in the beginning. So the simple solution was to buy dinner and beers for a friend and ask him to do all your designs. So that was our design and our branding. The color palette that was used and the design was just completely out of my own personal choice. It was just my favorite color, so it was there. And others in the team would disagree that this color is not nice and this logo is not looking good, and my UI developers would be confused that how do I bring these colors into the UI design of the product and so on. So there were some discussions like this, and we had grown as a company. We thought that before we scale, it is important to have a decent design which will be with us for, let's say, 5-10 years, because once we have scaled up the company and then going back and redoing the design and branding, etc., is going to be difficult. So that was the second reason. We were on a steep growth trajectory, so we said this is the right time to fix the brand, design, messaging, everything before we scale it up in a big way. So that was the other reason for going for rebranding. What is the third thing was that that our logo had started featuring in different sort of articles, media articles, in industry research websites and things like that, alongside other competitors, alongside other companies who were doing similar work. So again, it was sort of important that we look like a genuine company when our logo is sitting besides some of the larger companies and similar companies. So it was very important that we the logo and our messaging happens properly, as our media presence in general, our online presence begins to get traction, right? So that was the third reason. And the fourth reason, we had also realized that the importance of having a good quality brand, a brand which people can connect with easily and can appreciate, or at least find it just pleasing to the eye, and so that was the other reason. And we were going in for a big round of fundraise, so we thought for somebody to give you that much amount of money, it's also important to look really genuine, and also to build that confidence that we do understand what marketing and branding is like. So while it's true that for B2B companies, branding is not that important in early stages of the company, because you have 1 to 5 clients, but once you have crossed like 15-20 clients, it begins to get important, because even in B2B you are selling to people. Although the customer and the payer is an enterprise, but the decision maker is a person. So you have to appeal to that individual as a brand. So as you scale up, I think branding becomes very important as a B2B company. So when we went for rebranding, actually we had about 15 clients or so, and Before that, the sales team was just 2 people. We were having at that point of time we were also growing. We had also grown to be like 8 to 10 member sales team. So there was lot of messaging that was being done by non-founders. Like for all the first 15 deals, the founders, as a founders, we were the face of the company. But now these were sales folks that we had hired who are starting to become face of the company, and having right branding and messaging is very important, so that all 8-10 sales team of sales people are speaking the same language, they are sending the same message to the customer. So it was very important. So I think all of these reasons were very important why we went for branding. The identity of the company or the internal branding, that what does the company stand for among my own employees or my own shareholders and my own customers, is also very important. So our requirement was also that can the branding also reflect the product that we are building, why we are building that product, what is our mission in building these products and taking this product to the market. So internal branding as well as bringing out our mission and vision of i3 Systems very clearly was very important. So these were broadly the requirements. So after speaking with few agencies, we selected everything .design to start work. They are very small company at that time, but as just personally and also as a company, we always, even when we are hiring, we always look for 2 things. So we don't really go by experience in our hiring also. We look for 2 things, which is, one is whether the basic skills are right for any individual, irrespective of whatever college they went to and so on. And the second thing is that whether this person has fire in him or her to to learn things, to figure things out and get things done, even if they don't know something, even if they don't have experience in something. So that's the philosophy we follow in our hiring. So when we were selecting everything design or any design agency, that's what we were looking for. We were looking for people who had their basic skills right and who had fire in them to do something, to prove their point, even if that we felt that even if they don't know some things, they will figure it out and get these things done. So we saw that in even the small 4-5 member team of everything .design was at that point of time. So we went for it. Of course, getting the job done at our budget was also important. But eventually we knew that all of that money could very well get wasted if we don't end up getting what we thought we wanted, and if we have to go for rebranding and redesign just after a year or 2 years instead of 5 years, right? So that's how we went about selecting everything .design. The process of working with everything design was pretty good, in the sense that it was not like there were multiple touch points through the project. So it was we spent significant, like the team spent significant amount of time trying to understand what does i3 represent, what are its products, how are its product placed compared to its competitors, and therefore putting an identity which will stand out among competitors, and also that it should have a very unique identity of its own, which also reflects the mission, vision and the philosophy of the company itself. So I think those things were done well, and then there were multiple touch points to make sure that the team is actually taking the design forward in a direction where we wanted it to be, rather than what they felt was appropriate. So there were multiple touch points. So I think that was very important, and in the end we ended up getting design and messaging and branding that we thought that we wanted. And I think while we initially thought that the branding, messaging, etc. would be essentially for designing usual office materials and the logos, but I think eventually we realized that this messaging, branding, etc. went far beyond, and beyond, like the website, all the materials that are used, and how we connect with our customers and so on. Even the logo that was put at the entrance of the office and so on. So I think the team paid a lot of attention to details to make sure that the design and branding was getting conveyed consistently across all the various places, across all the touch points with all the individuals, which is customers, employees, investors, future employees, and so on. So I think that was another very good thing, because even when we were discussing scope, we were not really imagining that this could become so expansive. Um, so so yeah, I think the team delivered very well on whatever we wanted. Also, it was pretty smooth experience in the sense that we didn't have to go back to discussing things like pricing and scope and things like that. And we were just all working together to make the whole branding and the design that we had envisaged happen, right? Yeah, I think it was a very successful project, and more importantly, it was a lot of fun experience and pleasure working with the team at everything.design.